I'm gonna be real with y'all. All right, I'm gonna read from this script because you came here to learn about a product, not for entertainment. And if you did, not this guy. All right, here we go. The TCL NXTPAPER 14, it has a huge display and super vivid colors and is a great all-in-one device with 3 viewing modes, and each one serves a different purpose. That is the most interesting thing about this product, is the 3 viewing modes. It also comes with the case, it comes with the T-pen, all included in one package for a really good price. Welcome, neighbors. If you're a tech enthusiast who likes to go beyond the numbers on a spec sheet, you're in the right place. I'm Neighbor Nerd, and today we're going to talk about my first week with the TCL NXTPAPER 14. I'll also be doing videos on the next... Am I recording? Yes. This is No Spec Tech. We talk about specs, but that's not the point. Hey, editor Neighbor Nerd here. I did want to just quickly say this was not sponsored in any way, shape, or form. This was a product that didn't have enough coverage, so I figured, hey, if I want it, why not create it? So I did put links to the ones I purchased in the description. I'll also be doing videos on the NXTPAPER phone and the NXTPAPER 11-inch tablet, so please hit that subscribe button if you're interested in seeing those. I'll also be unboxing this iPhone soon. Do you know how hard it is to have the newest piece of tech that the world is talking about and not open it because you care so much about your 7 subscribers? When I first opened the NXTPAPER 14, the first thing I noticed was the size of the box. I opened the box and there are 2 boxes in it. One was for the case, which is really cool because you can use it to stand up the tablet if you're going to be streaming any video of any sort, or if you want to use it as a laptop substitute, it works perfectly. I could not find enough videos on this, especially the writing portion, which is why I wanted this. So let me make you wait for that while I read other stuff. I was really expecting something to be plasticky and cheap feeling maybe, but I was really shocked at how premium it felt, and that nice cool metal backing and the very interesting display. It was really awesome, and I'm actually happy I got it on camera because it's one of the coolest pieces of tech I've held in a world where all the tech is starting to blend together and become the same. It's incredibly thin, and I think that that slimness is part of the reason that it feels so premium. It's just over a 1/4 inch thick, and that's thinner than a lot of cell phones today. The fact that I got it for under $400 still blows my mind. My favorite part about the huge form factor is the ability to multitask. At one point I had 2 apps in split screen with a YouTube video playing in picture-in-picture and my Notes app in a floating window. So all in all, first impressions, it feels like a high quality product, and I would absolutely be willing to spend more on this if TCL continues to develop the product line. At some point, if I say TLC, you know what I mean. You don't need to correct me in the comments. Please. One of the coolest things about this is that it works surprisingly well as a laptop. It's crazy thin, but for just everyday productivity stuff, it's perfect. And I was able to pay some bills, update my finance spreadsheet because I'm so responsible, and you know, all with YouTube videos in the picture-in-picture so that I don't have to pay attention to what I'm actually doing. But yeah, it's honestly not something I ever thought I'd be willing to do, is type up a document on a tablet, but this one makes it very easy, and split screen is just an awesome experience when you have something that's almost the size of a 15-inch laptop. It's also more than capable to use as a second monitor, so you can use it as your laptop on the go, and if you have a desktop at home, you can connect it to that, and boom, you have a second monitor. The screen size is what makes this tablet capable of so many different things, but it's also one of the first challenges I noticed. It's awesome when you're multitasking, but it feels really out of place when you're only doing one thing. It's just unnecessary for single app use, unless you're streaming, of course. Unprofessional. Unless you're streaming, of course, or using a Bluetooth keyboard to type something up. I was really excited to use this to take notes because it's so big. I thought that would be perfect, but it is a little awkward because if you start at the top of the page, you find half of your forearm on the screen. It doesn't bother me too much anymore, but it just is something noticeable when you have a new device and you don't want to mess it up or smudge it, and your forearm is dragging across it as you write on the page. But the note-taking feature is amazing when it's in half screen. The fact that you can be reading on one half and writing on the other is a game changer. It's definitely not the device for scrolling social media or to hold in hand for long periods of time, but I do love propping it up in the kitchen while I'm cooking or washing the dishes because you can see it from the whole room because it's so big, as long as you're watching it from the right angle. And I say from the right angle because the paper-like display almost acts like a privacy screen from some angles. It's not viewable from all over the place like most modern screens. Some of the reviews I read talked about it not getting bright enough. That has not been an issue for me. I've only used it indoors, but during the day, full brightness at the office and at home, and it's been great for me. In fact, one of the issues I've had is how dim it doesn't get. On paper, it doesn't get very bright when you look at the nits, so maybe it's just the sheer size of this thing, but there's no way I'd be able to use it to take notes or read while I was in a dark room with someone who was watching a movie, for example. For any of you cinephiles out there, this is probably not the screen you're going to want to go to for your primary cinematic experience. It looks awesome and I feel like the colors are pretty accurate, but the dynamic range might not give enough contrast for the pro level experience to the most detail-oriented viewers. Hey, future me again. This probably isn't the perfect product for the creative types out there who heavily depend on color accuracy and creative tools for making graphics or artistic products. This really is more of a media consumption and browsing tool. The 4 stereo speakers sound great. I was actually surprised that they sounded as good as they did. It was one of the last things I tested, so I was waiting for the catch. People who are really into audio, maybe you'll hear things that I don't, but at max volume, I didn't hear any muffling or rattling like I was prepared to. Speaking of audio, I found this next part pretty funny. The volume actually goes above 100%. I still get a little chuckle every time I see that 150 or 200% mark. Okay, Spec Alert. This channel is about more than numbers on a spec sheet, but I know specs matter to some of us. Skip this chapter if you want to just get to the user experience. In terms of specs, everything is more than good enough for most people. This device runs on a TCL UI that's built on Android 14. It comes standard with 256 gigs of storage with no option for expandable storage. It lists 8 plus 8 RAM. I had to look that up. I'd never heard of it before, so maybe I'm just slow to the game, but is that a saying? It has 8 gigs of RAM, and it can use 8 gigs of the internal memory, that 256 gig memory, as a temporary, slower form of RAM when necessary. It sounds cool on paper. It hasn't given me any issues if I've needed it, so cool. The screen's resolution is 2.4K, meaning it has a level of image detail between the standard 1080p high definition and the ultra high definition 4K. The screen also has a 60 Hz refresh rate, which means it can refresh up to 60 times per second. 120 Hz is what most techies expect nowadays, but I personally don't think most users need this. In fact, I sometimes reduce my phone to 60 Hz because I don't notice enough of a difference, and refreshing 60 Hz max instead of 120 Hz max saves some battery in the long run. The device is a little bit behind in connectivity. It only does Wi-Fi 5 and Bluetooth 5.0. I didn't even notice anything acting slow or any significant latency until I looked this up and realized that it was behind. It wasn't an issue for me, so probably something, again, most users won't even notice. The battery is a huge 10,000 milliamps and allows 33 watt fast charging. And lastly, I won't even pretend to know what this is. It is powered by the MediaTek Helio 99 processor. According to Google, it's a good mid-range processor for anyone who prioritizes a balanced gaming performance and efficiency, but diving into that would be too specky for this techie. Note-taking is a great experience once you get used to it. I was surprised to find no pre-installed note-taking app, not even Google Keep. In terms of the writing experience, I would put this on par with the iPad or iPad Air. I think I actually adjusted to this better in the first few hours than I did to my iPad the whole time that I'd been using it. There's not as much friction as there is on the Kindle Scribe or the remarkable Paper Pro, but this does a lot more than those do. So I like it as more of an all-in-one and more affordable product, where you get more for your money. The battery lasts all day when I use it for note-taking and some light browsing. I've gone a couple days without charging it, and that included a few hours of note-taking, some YouTube streaming, and browsing here and there. The included T-Pen isn't the most expensive writing utensil I've ever used, but it works great and its battery hasn't died on me yet. One thing to note is it is USB-C charged, so you have to charge it separately with a USB-C cable. I only charge it about 10 minutes a day and all has been well. I like how it sits in the case when you close it. It won't fall out when the tablet is closed, but the magnetic is not as strong as I would like it to be. You know, it's a problem with all tablets that have that magnetic connection, but with this one, it just feels a little bit weaker, and the pen does feel a little bit less premium. I wish there was a more expensive option because I would probably spend Apple Pencil money on something a little bit more premium. As it stands, it works great, and I've gotten used to it. I don't like that you have to hit the power button to turn it on. Once you take it off of the tablet and you go to write, I've found myself tapping the screen a couple of times because I'm just expecting it to work, but you have to hit the button, and then it works instantly. In most apps, it works as an eraser. There's probably something in the settings where I could change that, but my go-to would be an eraser, so I haven't even thought to do that. And You know, I feel like I said a lot of negative things about the T Pen. Those are really just things I want anyone who's watching this to be aware of. I'm really happy with it after the week, and the things I complained about aren't even an issue anymore. So as expected for most tablets, the camera is nothing to write home about. I really don't think any of us are using tablets as our primary cameras, especially when we have crazy capable cameras in our pockets. If cameras matter that much to you, you probably have a cell phone that's way better than any tablet's ever going to be. So there's two front cameras, 8 and 13 megapixels. They work as good as any basic webcam, so nothing good or bad to say there. The rear 8 megapixel camera has a flash and autofocus, but I couldn't get a decent picture with it. I wouldn't trust it to photograph anything moving. If I had to pick a low point, the rear camera would have to be it. Here's some video I'm taking with the rear camera. And here is some video I'm taking with the front camera. This is probably what it would sound like and look like on a video call or a video conference, any sort of video chat app. As an e-reader, it works as a feature, but I think it's just too big to use as your primary all-purpose reading device. I see this as a tablet with an e-reading mode, as opposed to an e-reader that can do it all. This is too big to be the thing you cuddle up on the couch with and read with one hand. So if you're passionate about your digital book collection, and that's why you're considering this, you're going to want to look elsewhere. This is not a bad backup device or one to test out as an e-reader. This is a good way to find out if it's something that would actually work for you. It's also too bright to have as your bedtime e-reader, especially if you have someone who's trying to go to sleep while you're reading. So now I want to talk about some of the unique features. I mentioned it briefly, but using this as a second monitor is really convenient. I know other tablets can do this, but a 14.3-inch screen is miles better than 11 inches, and it's a surprisingly noticeable improvement from a 13-inch screen. During the unboxing video, I was pleasantly surprised by the take a break feature. That's not something that I've seen natively integrated into a device before. Once you spend 20 minutes on this tablet, it has you take a 20-second break, which has been a little annoying, but also refreshing. I take that 20 seconds to take a few breaths, realizing if I'm over-focusing on something or not focusing enough on the right thing, and you have the option to remove it, but I have kept mine on because I really like it. I haven't noticed it come up while streaming though. Maybe when you have media playing, it just doesn't do it. I spent way too much time going over the 3 screen modes in my unboxing video. I'll link it up here if you want to check this out more. Even though I found myself using it a lot less than I expected to, I'm really happy that I have the option to remove some of that dopamine temptation from my workflow if I feel like I need it. The paper color option reminds me of the high-end e-ink tablets that cost double, triple the price and have to refresh every time you change the page. Because this is actually a tablet, it's just a lot faster than any e-reader or e-ink tablet that I've used. Okay, let's get into my recommendations. I do want to touch on 2 things regarding the negatives. One, if you get this, make sure you update it right away. Some of the issues I was having out of the box were fixed as soon as I did a software update. If you notice latency with the pen when you're taking notes, try a different app. Some apps have latency and some have nothing noticeable. The reason I list all those negatives is because they might be deal breakers for somebody who's watching this, but this is $370. I've seen it listed as $470 in some places. Hey, hopefully this is the last time you hear of editor version of me. I forgot to leave out one potentially big con. TCL has only guaranteed 3 years of updates for this device, 2 in some regions. So security updates, the longer you go without those, the higher risk your device becomes, especially when you're downloading things or online in public networks. Just be aware of that because you might not get the longevity out of this device that you would out of something with, say, 5 to 7 years of security update support. Like with all pieces of tech, you're going to find things you like and things you don't like. These are things that I noticed at first, but have pretty much gotten used to in the week I've been using it. My expectations were honestly pretty low because you get what you pay for. This is not a situation like that. I love my iPad, but I like this way more. I'm of the belief that you shouldn't be tied to any one ecosystem. Despite the fact that I'm here reviewing technology, part of the goal is to help technology work for you instead of owning you. I feel like we're not mindful enough about our tech sometimes. That's my rant for the day. So again, I didn't know whether or not I was going to be keeping this, but I will without a doubt be using it on a daily basis. I think it's a great option for most people. Again, probably not ideal for your primary cinematic experiences, probably not for heavy gaming sessions, but I did some retro gaming emulation on this and that was really fun. Even if older games do look kind of crappy. It's perfect for anyone who might need to study and take notes at the same time. I think of a college freshman who's reading a textbook on one half and writing things down on the other. And I think the performance is arguably on par with or better than a laptop you'd get for the same price. It's also one of the best options I've come across as a second monitor. The difference in screen texture or appearance might be a little jarring for some, but if you're using your main computer as the primary one and this is a secondary one, I think it could just up your productivity and help multitasking on one device be a little bit easier. And this is going to have to be my top recommendation for somebody who wants to carry all of their devices with them but wants to travel lightly. It serves as a notebook, e-reader, entertainment hub, laptop. You can just bring this and a portable Bluetooth keyboard and mouse. It's very light, very slim. So if you want to carry all of your devices with you and travel light, this is the way to go. I also like that it's different and using things that not everybody is using. So in conclusion, I think this is one of the best tablets you can possibly get. Anything this size is going to cost 4 or 5 times the price. I mean 2 times the price if you're lucky and it's on sale, and it won't come with a cover and a pen. This thing punches so far above its weight class, again in my opinion. If 14.3 inches is too big, then check out the 11-inch version. They seem pretty similar, but the 11-inch Gen 2 is more than $100 cheaper, and it has some upgrades in some areas, downgrades in others, but feel free to ask if you have questions about that one. My goal really is to help technology fit better into your life so that you can use it your way and make better digital decisions. Thank you so much for watching. If you got this far, good for you. Not a lot of people want to talk to me. This is a completely new venture for me. I'm still trying to figure out what I'm doing here, and I really want to do a good job. So if there's anything you liked, anything you didn't like, it would really mean a lot to me if you could kindly let me know whichever direction that feedback goes in. I thank you. I'm Neighbor Nerd. Thank you so much for tuning into my second episode ever of No Spec Tech. Have a beautiful day. Have fun. Ugh. You know, what's the point of a microphone if it's gonna mess up your shirt and then just be obvious? Have a beautiful day. This is the music for the end of the show.